What's up, Nashville? All right, have a good time.
The music festival was rocking when a sudden gale swept through. What no one knew was that the real death DJ was on his way to spin. First, the rain tarp was ripped away by the storm. Next, the stage beams began death metal style violent swaying. In the blink of an eye, the entire stage disintegrated on the spot. In the distance, a giant sky serpent charged toward the stage. The moment the emergency call ended, the fire department already had their engines revving through the earth. Arriving at the scene of utter chaos, torrential rain lashed like bullets, and the tornado was now just 2 miles away. The lead singer burst out screaming, "My band got crushed like a sandwich." Worse still, a group of audience members were buried beneath the stage wreckage. Firefighters immediately grabbed winches and pulleys to get to work. Just then, reinforcements arrived bringing a death countdown. 10 minutes left before the tornado feasts. Sirens blared as everyone rushed for shelter inside buildings. Only one father lay unconscious. The medic cut open his clothes to find severely swollen neck veins blocking blood flow back to his heart. His lungs were struggling desperately. The team had to relieve the pressure immediately. The tornado approached visibly. With a hiss of air release, the man's vein swelling rapidly subsided.
He's back in sinus.
Thermal imaging now showed 8 faint life signals flickering, but when the crew activated the winch mechanism, the motor suddenly spewed smoke and shut down. The beam crashed down again, without a large crane. This rescue was impossible. The trapped man's screams froze the air. With only 5 minutes until the tornado struck, dispatch urged immediate evacuation. The sole hope now was to manually lift the 8-ton beam. Crews assembled instantly.
Hard call! 1, 2, lift!
But despite bulging veins, they couldn't budge it. Suddenly, the lead singer raised his fist. Evacuees surged in like the Avengers from all directions. Amid deafening shouts, the 8-ton steel beast was lifted. Even the Avengers themselves would applaud this feat. But the command center screamed the tornado was inches away. Captain Hart ordered civilians to take cover immediately while the remaining team continued the search. Just then, Captain Hart spotted Pyrotechnicy and Jack trapped precariously atop the stage. By the time the team rescued Jack, the tornado had opened its gaping maw. There was nowhere left to run. Exhausted beyond measure, Jack's hand slipped. His entire body was sucked toward the storm like a piece of paper. In that instant, Captain Hart transformed into Spider-Man. His arms, like steel cables, clamped down on Jack until the tornado vanished. The driver screamed that the passenger had gone mad, as she howled like a wild beast in the back seat. The driver frantically insisted his driving skills couldn't have caused any jolts. Nancy trembled, repeating, "My eye." When she turned her head, the paramedic gasped in horror. The eyeliner pencil was lodged directly in her eye socket. The paramedic learned from Nancy that she'd been applying eyeliner when the taxi jolted violently, while injecting painkillers. The paramedic frantically brainstormed solutions. The team doctor's gaze swept the cabin, locking onto a coffee cup.
"Hey, that's mine!"
Build the CFD.
They worked together like bomb disposal experts, controlling every breath with millimeter precision. After all, one trembling hand could turn this lady from a beauty guru into a pirate captain. Once gauze secured the coffee cup over Nancy's eye, it was time for medical transport. The children buried sleeping Tony in the sandpit, hoping to create a fun holiday memory. Suddenly, lightning struck near Tony, triggering a chemical reaction in the sand. Blood gushed from Tony's neck like a tomato sauce fountain. The terrified children froze in place. With his last ounce of strength, Tony shouted, "Call 911." By the time firefighters arrived, he had lost consciousness from blood loss. Crew members swiftly removed shards embedded in his body. Buck led the children to safety, explaining how the lightning's intense heat transformed silica into deadly glass. Team medic Hand then discovered a shard piercing Tony's carotid artery. Miraculously, the intense heat had created a natural seal. As the team attempted to move Tony, his brachial artery ruptured, blood gushing like a fountain. The medic swiftly applied a tourniquet to stabilize him and lifted him onto a stretcher. Tony's first words upon regaining consciousness were, "Did my little ones cry?" A suspicious gas drifted from the kindergarten. When firefighters arrived, They discovered this wasn't a children's playground at all but a secret lab straight out of Breaking Bad, though the entire crew instantly transformed into a gas mask brigade. The pharmaceutical company later demanded urine tests for all firefighters. Sam turned as pale as a ghost. It turned out he'd secretly used a powerful painkiller to manage an old injury. At first, Sam didn't think much of the urine test until his teammates learned his secret. His teammates pointed out he'd taken a drug world superstar product. The urine test would strip him bare. Soon, the pharmaceutical company rep showed up to arrange full team testing. Sam instantly became a bathroom deserter, frantically calling his ex-girlfriend for help, but she just dumped the blame on him. The testers suddenly blocked the entrance. The captain himself came to supervise. Sam could only grit his teeth and blurt out, "The cup fell into the toilet," only for the tester to produce a brand new one with a flick of the wrist. Just as Sam braced for social death, the alarm blared like a heavenly sound. He scrambled out, stumbling and crawling. Sam dragged his feet until evening, only for the diligent tester to reappear at the fire station. Cup in hand, he smiled warmly. "Surprised? I'm on night duty." Gripping the scalding container, Sam was paralyzed. Should he confess and hope for leniency, or gamble his career? But then came a twist. A teammate handed him a can of steaming liquid. Lucky Sam narrowly escaped disaster. Affected by a geomagnetic storm, the smart car completely lost its bearings. Satellite signal disruption caused it to lurch about like a drunken man. But the firefighters discovered the ultimate bug, even spinning like a top. The car stubbornly adhered to driving school doctrine. It automatically avoided every double solid line it encountered. The team immediately used sandbags to draw a perfect double solid line trap on the road. As the car foolishly triggered its avoidance program, firefighters sprinted to complete the blockade. The trapped smart car began performing an on-the-spot waltz before finally crashing completely. When the passenger crawled out of the cabin, his legs were as limp as noodles. With a trembling voice, he swore never to touch autonomous driving again. Friends, remember, when AI rules the world, bring a bucket of paint to draw double solid lines. The tough guy told the firefighters the sewer was eating people. He was convinced a missing manhole cover was to blame. Two firefighters leaned in and indeed heard cries for help. The team entered and found Linda half submerged in sewage, her hands clutching the iron grating. The captain yelled for diving gear as he plunged into the filth. The two formed a human chain in the vortex. The current violently tore at her injured leg. Linda screamed in agony, her foot nearly severed. A firefighter dove headfirst into the murky vortex as the water level visibly rose, threatening to swallow her chin. Just as the diving gear arrived, Linda was suddenly sucked toward the abyss by a hidden current. It turned out that after the filter debris was cleared, a terrifying suction force like a toilet bowl had formed at the bottom. The rescue rope instantly snapped taut. Team members on shore chanted in unison, straining to win this tug-of-war between human and natural forces. Firefighters collectively gawked at the towering Inferno. Since it's slated for demolition anyway, let this abandoned building burn to the ground. But the next second, an observant team member spotted empty bottles and cans in a corner. Homeless people must be living in this wreck. Then, two young homeless girls crawled out of a ventilation shaft. After announcing 5 more companions inside, Andy reached to check on them only to be flatly refused. More astonishingly, the little darling dashed back into the flames, insisting she'd guide Andy. Andy swiftly rallied his team to enter the building. By the time they found 3 more children, flames were already licking the rafters. But disaster struck when the outside team opened a nearby fire hydrant only to find it completely dry. Andy looked up at the sprinkler heads and saw a glimmer of hope. The little girl instantly understood and led the team straight to the control switch. Meanwhile, Jake found the last 2 children. He radioed Andy, urging her to activate the sprinklers immediately. Andy struggled to turn the valve, but the sprinklers only began dripping holy water. Each droplet that hit the floor ignited a half-meter fireball.
Hey, there's some kind of accelerant in the pipe! Herrera, do not activate! I repeat, do not activate!
As the unknown liquid sprayed, flames in the stairwell surged violently. Andy frantically shut off the valve, but it was too late. The captain was at his wit's end when dispatch reported it would take another 2 minutes to supply water to the hydrants. The captain immediately charged into the Inferno with a mini fire extinguisher, hacking a path through the flames with his 3 kilograms gear. Jake and the others managed to escape. Andy and the others remained trapped in the Inferno. At the moment of utter despair, every fire hydrant on the street suddenly roared to life. The dispatch center's 2-minute countdown had finally concluded. The blaze was contained, and Andy's team escaped safely. It turned out the building owner, seeking to cut maintenance costs, had secretly added antifreeze to the water supply system. Andy finally exhaled. Looks like he'll get some rest tonight.